Rev up your engines! Okay, it's a known fact, I hate Volkswagens, right? Now, it wasn't always this way. When I was a kid, I loved them. They were air-cooled, simple. You could buy one for $2,000 cash. Drive the heck out of them. Well, why don't I like the modern ones? The modern ones have too much technology. They started with a little, and they got more and more and more. Realize, Volkswagen owns Porsche, Audi. They take that high level of technology and they put them into their lowly Volkswagens, making them not as dependable as they were, making them cost more. And if you've ever been to a Volkswagen dealer, you'll know they're looking at your wallet. And they're trying to guess how much money do these people have to see what they can take out of them. But in the spirit of honesty, we're going to analyze this 2007 Jetta that was bought used a long time ago. Now, it's only got 89,000 miles because they gave it to their mother for a while in Florida, but it just sat there for 5 years. So it's very low mileage for an 07. It's only got 80-something thousand miles on it. We're going to see how this is held up. They'll keep it if it's okay, but if not, they'll get rid of it and get something better. Now, even though it's low mileage, when they picked it up sitting at their mother's place in Florida, it wasn't used much, they spent $6 grand on it, having things fixed so they could drive it. Realizing in these days, hey, you're not going to get much for $6 grand in a car, so they decided to put it into this thing. Here's what I'm talking about, complexity. You can see of that $6 grand, $1,881.41 of it was to remove and replace brake vacuum pump. Now, hilariously enough, they just told me that they had to call a guy at an Audi dealer to get the special tool to change it out. But this is a level of technology that's plain stupid. Take this Matrix. It's got vacuum boost brakes, runs off the engine vacuum. It doesn't have a pump doing it, and it works perfectly fine like most other cars. The Germans take a level of technology and they throw them into these things so that you had to replace $1,800 for a brake vacuum pump that should be running off the vacuum of the engine, and you don't even have to have that on the car. They just get carried away with the technology. Now, as we look under the hood, there we go. Let's hope that holds and doesn't hit me in the head. This is a 2.5 liter 5-cylinder engine. It is actually a pretty good engine. These engines hold up. This particular one isn't really burning oil. It's got plenty enough horsepower. Even though it's not turbocharged, it's still got plenty of horsepower to get you around. Volkswagens are zippy cars. That's how they sell them to people. But they just cost too much money to fix as they break down. I mean, this car's only got 80-something thousand miles on it. Let's say it was a Toyota, it wouldn't have needed any of those repairs. That'd be $6,000 they'd still have in their pocket, because a Toyota with 80-something thousand miles, hardly anything would have worn out. Now, he admits it's a fun car to drive. They do handle well. And so far, transmission has been perfectly fine. He said it was a little sluggish around third or so until he changed the fluid, then it went back to normal. Now, you might see some fading here. Well, they don't make them in Deutschland like they used to. This faced the Florida sun, and lo and behold, it peeled off. But as we go to the other side, it's still in good shape because it was in the shade. And of course, don't be fooled by names. We check it out here. Wolfsburg edition, right? But don't be fooled. Check it out here. Da 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 da. Mexico. Does anybody want some German tacos? It has nothing to do with made in Germany. Just like the Japanese, you want a car made in Japan. German cars, they are so much better made in Germany. As a matter of fact, some of their fancy GTIs, they even gave up with making them in Mexico, and they brought them back to Germany, and now they're making them in Germany because they see that as their top-of-the-line little Zoom car, and they decided we're not going to make them in Mexico anymore. We're only going to make them in Germany. So be careful about names. Always look at the tag. And if you can't find out, because sometimes they're really sneaky, just do a little research. Google, what does a VIN number mean? And it'll show you what the first letter means. The first letter tells you what country they're from. So if it doesn't say made in Mexico, learn what the code is. So don't let anybody fool you. Look at that VIN number. Do a little research. Then you'll know where it came from. Because this Wolfsburg doesn't have anything to do with made in Germany. It's made in Mexico. Now granted, with the front wheel drive system, these things handle and drive quite well. He has fun driving around. I always like driving Volkswagens. Now, it's a 2.5 liter engine, strange enough. He averages about 25 miles a gallon. And you might say for a small car, well, it's an '07. It's an older car. And it is a zippy car. It's not a slow car. So it's not horrible gas mileage. Not great gas mileage, but not horrible. People that want to get gas mileage in one of these Jettas will get a diesel. And they get phenomenal gas mileage. But of course, they're much slower than this thing is. And they're certainly not as much fun to drive. So let's get our computer out. Thinking about the VIN number? Now, these do have a tremendous amount of information that you can get from computers. That's the one thing. You can analyze them with a fancy computer quite well. You might not like the results you get, but you'll get results. Now, we'll start it up. Let it warm up a little. And here we go. The engine, everything, that's good so far. Now, Central Electric's low high beam bulb, right low, high beam low. The low high beams have codes for the light bulbs. Now, as soon as I saw the lights, I thought, I'll bet he changed the headlights. Well, indeed, he did. Well, this is how complex these stupid German cars are. You gotta tell the computer you changed the headlights. Or it thinks it's abnormal, so we'll fix that right now. All clear the fault code. It also says the immobilizer's a little wacky. The immobilizer key, they'll often trip codes for no reason whatsoever. It's got no problem starting, but realize the immobilizer keys work by the car has to recognize the immobilizer chip in the key, and sometimes they just don't. Too cold or whatever, so we'll erase that too. And all this other stuff is green and good. The only thing left is the heated outside door mirror on the front passenger side. We'll see what it says just for a laugh. It says it's an electrical fault in a circuit somewhere, and it happened at 136,689 kilometers. Heated mirror, hey, it's not heating too hot, but hey, is that a reason to get rid of a car? No, just out of curiosity. We'll clear that one too. And now we'll start her up again and look at the real data. We'll look at the engine electronics. As you can see, there's 312 things to look at. Checking the stuff out, looking for weird data. And as usual, it's color coded, so. See all the cylinders, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, have 0 misfires. It's not misfiring at all. And as you can see here, all the cylinders, well, the first 4, there's no delay in the ignition angle. They're all at 0. And we scroll down to 5. That's 0 too, which is good. The lambda's working pretty good. 1.00 is perfect. You can see this is going 0.98, 1.01. They're going to move around a little, but it's pretty close to perfect 1.00. That's the specified and that's the actual. It's really smooth. Check it out. It even has idle stabilization self-adaptation. It's only subtracting 0.39%. Pretty close to perfect. Yes, they have computers even to make it idle smooth. Now, great when it works, yes, but as I've been saying, the level of technology in these things, maybe they went a little bit too far. You can see here, it's even showing you the percentage opening of the thermostat. Now, the owners just told me, originally, the mechanics said, well, we might have to take the transmission off to change the vacuum pump for the brake that they changed, but luckily the guy was able to work around it. Save him a little bit of money there, but still, $1,800 is $1,800. It's a lot of money for something that a car shouldn't even have in the first place. Well, as if that isn't bad enough, he was just telling me his friend has a Volkswagen diesel that was under that recall, right? They've had the car for 3 months. It's now the end of December. And they said, well, we probably won't have the part until April. So, not only are these complex, hard to figure out, but you can't even get parts for some of them. So really, it stands good now. Granted, they spent $6,000 having the thing worked on a month and a half ago, 3,000 miles ago. So let's take it for a spin and see what it does. That's an old car, so there's no backup camera. You gotta look in the mirror. It's a fun car to drive. Hey, when they're working, they shift really smoothly. I don't hear any wheel bearing noise. But then again, it's only got 89,000 miles. It's an old car, it's an 07, but it's sat for 5 years, so it's very low mileage. So here we go to our little drag strip. We can't stop because there's somebody behind me, but this is good enough. Now that sounds like German technology. Those shifts are so smooth. When it works great. Just realize if that transmission breaks down, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 is nothing to spend to fix them correctly. I can see why people buy these things, because they're so much fun to drive. Smooth, they got the German technology that when it's working is phenomenal. But as I said before, if this was a Toyota with 89,000 miles, spending $6,000 to get it in running order, maybe an oil change. That's about all you'd probably have to do. So here we have a Jetta, and I'm telling the guy, you might as well as keep it. If you don't mind doing a little riverboat gambling, that something weird is going to go out. Now, that transmission shifts like a dream. It might still last for quite some time. It had no problems whatsoever. Phenomenal technology when it works. Doesn't burn oil. The engine runs smooth. But you watch some of that information I showed on those 320 something bits of data. These things are complex. And when they do break, the money is just going to go flying out of your wallet because most guys don't even know how to work on them. They don't have scanners at that level, or they have them, they don't even know how to operate the things. They are expensive to fix, extremely expensive to fix. And as his friend found out with the diesel, he'll be waiting, let's see, 3, and then there's January, February, March, April. So he'll be waiting about 8 months to get his fixed at the dealer. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about buying a Volkswagen. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.